This week, we're talking about love, what it is, and what it requires of us. Today, we come to what some experience as the single most difficult requirement of Christian love, forgiveness. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. So far, we've seen what Christian love is emphatically not. It is not a feeling. To the extent that feelings are involved, they are a result of love, but the feelings themselves are not what define Christian love. We've seen that love involves kindness. Kindness in this sense is something we do, a way of being in relationship with others. Sometimes kindness comes easily, as when we treat people we happen to like with kindness. But the rubber hits the road, so to speak, when we have to practice kindness with people we don't like or people who treat us poorly. That's when kindness becomes difficult, but it is still part of what Christian love entails. We've also seen that Christian love is unconditional. We do not place preconditions on those whom we are called to love. People are not required to do something for us in order to earn our love. This reflects God's unconditional love for us. You might even say that if there is a precondition for our love, it is the love of God which precedes our love for others. Or as it says in 1 John 4, we love because God first loved us. Now we come to forgiveness. Let me read two passages from Matthew that inform our understanding of forgiveness. The first is from the Sermon on the Mount. The second is Jesus' response to a question from Peter. I'm going to read them back to back, so it's going to sound like the second part is a response to the first, but it actually happens some chapters later. Jesus says, "Pray then in this way, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And do not bring us to the time of trial, but rescue us from the evil one. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses." Now the second passage. Then Peter came and said to him, "Lord, if another member of the church sins against me, how often should I forgive? As many as 7 times? Jesus said to him, "Not 7 times, but I tell you, 77 times. Wow. Clearly, forgiveness is at the very heart of Christian faith and practice. Two things must be said from the very beginning about this. First, as with love generally, we are required to forgive because we have already ourselves been forgiven. But second, unlike love generally, which is based on God's unconditional love, there is a bit of a precondition placed on our forgiveness, and we affirm it Sunday in and Sunday out. God forgives us to the extent that we forgive others. And to illustrate this, Jesus tells a parable about a king wanting to settle accounts with his slaves who owe him money. One owes him a huge sum, which he obviously cannot pay. He begs the king to give him time to repay, and out of pity, the king grants him a temporary reprieve. But then that same servant goes to collect money from others who owe him money, and when one of them can't pay his debt, and it's so small, he pleads for time to pay off the debt. But the servant who is given the reprieve from the king fails to show the same mercy on the one who was indebted to him. When the king hears of it, he is infuriated and hands him over to be punished. Jesus' point, obviously, is that we need to be prepared to forgive just as we have been forgiven. And if we don't, our forgiveness by God is put at risk. But here's the deal. There is forgiveness and there's forgiveness. One cheap and false, one costly and genuine. We can say we forgive another when what we really mean is that we're going to let something go, but secretly hang on to it and hold a grudge. True forgiveness is hard, and anyone who says it's not is fooling you. Forgiveness doesn't mean we have to be passive sufferers of the wrongdoing of others. We don't have to be doormats whom people can simply abuse. But true forgiveness acknowledges that wrong has in fact been done against us, ideally in a conversation with the wrongdoer. Sometimes such a conversation clears up a misunderstanding, making forgiveness not even necessary. But sometimes it can mean an uncomfortable conversation in which we deal openly and honestly with the wrongs that have been done against us. Forgiveness at this point accomplishes two very important things. First, it lifts the burden of shame and guilt from the offending party. And second, it frees us from the burden of anger, which can become a poison that eats away at us from the inside. Forgiveness is hard, but the burden of hanging on to it is far worse. Tomorrow, are there boundaries to our love? But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.